Good morning. We're here in the kitchen today. We're going to save some seeds because it's raining outside. We've got rain forecast for the next couple of days. So, not a whole lot to be done outside. The animals already been taken care of. So we're going to save some seeds out of some jalapenos, some cherry tomatoes, banana peppers, and some jalapenos. Over here I already have some pumpkin seeds that are finished. I'll do another video just on them. Nothing real special. And out of the vegetables we're going to be doing today, they're all pretty much just seeds you're going to pull and dry, besides tomatoes. The tomatoes have to be fermented because they have a coating around the seed. Because in nature, when this tomato falls off the vine, there is a lot of seeds for each individual tomato. So it's kind of a evolutionary mechanism. Tomatoes have protected the seeds. That way every seed does not germinate. Because this one tomato plant may have several hundred of these tomatoes if just left its own course. So when all those fall off, they would be overcrowded and kill each other. So in the process, tomatoes have evolved to put a coating on the seed to force the seeds not all to germinate. So we're going to go around that by fermenting the tomatoes into a little vessel with a coffee filter. That way they can ferment, nothing can get in but the carbon dioxide and everything can escape. They'll ferment for total around 3 days. If you got any questions on any of this, comment below and I'll do my best to answer. Now, I do have these ghost peppers here, and we're not going to be processing them today. We've already processed a ton of these and have them dried and saved. Now you're going to see me not wearing gloves. I said I wasn't going to do this again without wearing gloves because I got burnt pretty good the other day. We processed our ghost peppers, Tabasco, a lot of hot peppers. Washed my hands 10 to 12 times. Thought we was okay. Wiped my eye while I was driving down the road. This was several hours later and had to pull over because my eye was burning so bad. So if at all possible when you're doing this, be extremely careful. Wash your hands. Not that it helps a whole lot, but if at all possible, wear gloves. I don't have any gloves, so we're just going to go ahead and do this. The banana peppers, some of them's not fully ripe, but they're to full maturity. This one is more ripe than any of the others, but I picked the largest specimens in hopes that when these reproduce, or we grow our seeds from these next year, we'll end up with all fairly large fruit. Same as with jalapenos, the tomatoes are pretty much, they are what they are. So let's get started. Also, you'll see some jalapenos here. These are all ones with defects where they've been eaten into by bugs. We're just going to process the seeds out of these. The other jalapenos, I'm going to try to process the seeds out, save them, and make jalapeno slices to can. That way not all of it goes to waste. Out of everything we're doing today, the only thing we'll really be saving is the jalapenos. We'll start with the banana peppers. Basically, I just like cutting the top off, cutting the bottom section off. There's a couple seeds in the very bottom, but not enough to worry with. I have a scrap bowl here because all this will be going to the pigs when it's done. We'll mix it with other household waste. So basically, after I split the pepper, I like peeling the outside edge off. You'll lose a couple seeds here and there, but it's no big deal. We can get them back. Just take and scrape the peppers out like so. It's a little harder to do video on it, knowing a bunch of people's going to be watching this, but not a whole lot to it. Just save as many of them as you can. On banana peppers, they cluster up here. Most of your peppers will do that. But this is a good way to save seeds so you don't have to buy plants next year. So when we planted these banana peppers, we purchased all of the plants from the local feed supply house. Now, each pack we bought had 6 plants in it. Say each cell had 2 seeds in it. That's 12 seeds. I mean, I've already got probably 60 seeds here, and given not all of them's going to germinate, but instead of spending $4 on 6 plants, we can now grow as many of the plants as we need for just a nominal cost. That, and this year there was a shortage on vegetable plants because everybody decided they wanted to grow a garden, which is good. But it made it a little tougher on me when I was running behind. So we didn't get to do quite everything we wanted to. And before anything's said, I know I'm saving all this to go to the pigs. And so far I was leery of giving the pigs the hot peppers, but they seem to really enjoy them. So we're just going to give them to them. I mean, pigs just like us, if they don't like it, it's not going to eat it. It'll be composted. So I'm not too concerned with whether they're eating hot pepper or not. If they don't like it, they will not eat it. Contrary to popular belief. You gotta be careful when you go to peel these seeds off with your knife. They like shooting everywhere. Sometimes I do it with my fingers, keep them shooting around as much. We're gonna save as many of them as we can because we've generally got a high germination rate, but if my neighbor needs some seeds or we have a low germination rate for some reason, we'll have plenty of seeds. Basically all we're going to do is we're going to gather all these seeds. I know that's going to be a fairly long video, so I'm trying to make this quick and dirty as possible where you get the gist of it, but not waste your whole entire day watching a YouTube video. Now these banana peppers are not as mature. This one here is not. It had started ripening, but we actually just now got our first frost pretty early this year, so spread a few things up. Seeds still look good and viable. We'll give them a whirl anyway. Now this one, it's not ripened. It's kind of small. I'm going to let this one just go to the pigs. We're not going to worry with the seeds out of it. So basically all I'll do after we get that seed harvested, that's making a mess of my wife's countertop. Try to be prepared as possible, have everything laid out so I don't have to go walk off and get stuff. But, you can never have everything, I don't think. So I like marking my, it's hard to write on this paper towel, but Sharpie. So I just put abbreviation on there, J pepper, because I know it's going to be jalapeno pepper, because I don't have anything else that I'm saving with the J in the pepper family. So basically all we're going to do is we take our paper towel. This helps to dry it off in the beginning because, I mean, there's not a ton of moisture in these seeds, but we've got to dry them down. So the paper towel will pull quite a bit of moisture out of the seeds that is there, but it won't pull all of it out. So what I like doing is saving these to dry them. You can put them in a dehydrator, but I like doing things a little more natural, and one that don't cost you anything. I'm just picking up a few of these loose seeds so they don't end up getting mixed in with another batch. So all your seeds are here. I just like taking and spreading them out and try the best I can into one flat layer. And we're going to take these, and I like storing mine on top of the fridge for a few days, and then I pull them off the paper towel. Now that's just air drying. Works fairly well, has worked fine for me. Like I say, you can use a dehydrator if you want to, but it's not necessary. I've dried everything down. The humidity in our house is fairly low. I mean, these seeds only been dried a couple of days, and they're very good. I have, I don't know, 10, 12 different things we've dried over the last week or so. Trying to prepare for the gardening season of 2021. If you watch my other videos, you see we're putting a greenhouse up. So all these seeds rather, will be started into plants this fall and spring in that greenhouse that we're working on building. But the weather has kind of limited us to what we can and can't do there. So the only other thing we're going to be doing today is the jalapenos. I'm not going to necessarily waste your time and seeing what jalapenos are. If you want to see them done, we can do a separate video on the jalapenos, but it's the same thing as the banana peppers. I'm going to top it, and instead of just cutting the bottom off, I'm going to start slicing it. Once I start getting in seeds, I'll then cut the core out, finish slicing the pepper so I can save the pepper rings and use those for canning, and then we'll harvest the seeds just the same as we did the banana peppers. So in saving time, we're going to go ahead and we just got a few of these tomatoes. I've got more out there on the vine, but I just want to send for demonstration purposes. So what I like doing is I take, and we're going to basically juice these. We're going to get as much of the seed and juice out of the inside as we can, but try to keep the pulp out. Once these guys start fermenting, that's my rain alarm. What we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and do it, and then I'll explain what we're going to do after that. There's nothing real special in doing this. I like making a slice in the bottom, and I just squeeze it like you're going to make fresh lemonade. Majority of all the seeds will come out just that way, and this is with cherry tomatoes given, but a larger tomato we'd slice and harvest the seed pockets. But if these are small, you can pretty much put one slice in it, squeeze every seed. You gotta be careful because these like shooting halfway across the kitchen. If you're like me, your wife will not be happy with you when she comes home and sees a tomato on the wall that you missed. Not that that's happened. It has. So very, very simple. Ooh, there went a bunch. Like I say, you gotta be careful. This one's really soft. I'm not going to worry about keeping it in case it's not viable. This one's not going to have a whole lot in it. Now on these tomatoes, they squirted out. I'm not going to worry about picking those up. There's just like 10 or 12 some juice. But you can see that just those few tomatoes made quite a bit. So now, to ferment these, I like getting all your juice and seeds in here. I guess you can somewhat see the seeds floating in there. There's little bitty specks. So what I do is I take and I put an equal amount of water in there to what I have in juice. And this just give it a little bit of head. Your good seeds will sink and your bad seeds will float. Well, since they have the coating on them right now, they're all sank, and they may all be viable good seeds. But you're going to let these ferment for 3 days. I just set them on top of the refrigerator. If you're doing a large amount, I'd do it out in the garage or something, because if you're doing a larger amount, they do get to smelling, and your wife or spouse will not be happy with the smell it's producing in your kitchen. This small of amount don't really make much smell. Matter of fact, I couldn't even tell we was doing them last time. My wife found it and thought it was a science project. Now, when they start fermenting after the first day or so, you may get a layer of crud on top. You can open them up and pull a layer of crud off. That's not going to hurt nothing whatsoever. And more than likely they'll do it because these tomato seeds are fermenting that protective coating off. So you just take a coffee filter and seal the top in. I like using these little Rubbermaid containers and a coffee filter, and that rubber band ain't working. Just take your rubber band and seal the top. I'll let them sit on the refrigerator for 3 days, and they will be ready to process further. Now, after those 3 days is up, what I do is I take the tomato seeds and I rinse them with water. And I'll fill that cup up to the top, scoop any of the floating seeds off because they're not viable, put them into the scrap bowl or garbage disposal, and then keep repeating rinsing the seeds. Once the seeds have been rinsed a couple of times, they come out very clean, but they're very small. Tomato seeds are. I'm trying to find a package of them here where maybe I can show you. Okay, here they are. They're right on top. You can see how little these guys are. This is after I have fermented, dried, and packaged. So these are Sweet 100 tomatoes. The variety we did today was a Husky cherry. It's a little bit bigger diameter, not quite as sweet, a little bit more savory. But all around, you can save any tomato seed with this method, as long as it's not a hybrid. You need to try to use heirlooms, and we can get into full conversation about cross-pollination. The way we set up our garden, I don't have to worry as much about cross-pollination on tomatoes because I put them so far apart. We only grow a few different varieties. And generally they're far enough apart that any cross-pollination would have to come on a very, very windy day, or my honeybees are helping us with. But nonetheless, you'll get a good crop out of them. It may not be exactly the tomato that you grew the year before. So the more you can segregate that tomato off to itself and not worry about any cross-pollination, you'll end up with the same tomato every year. But we can do a whole nother video on that if y'all want to, talking about cross-pollination, what you need to do. But just the gist of it, have you a heirloom tomato, squeeze the seeds out, equal parts water to seed juice and seeds, let it ferment for 3 days, and then rinse, dry, and save. In a couple of days' time, those banana peppers we had will be ready to go in the bag, and we've produced enough seeds to make several people's banana pepper plants, or neighbors, what have you. That way, if there is a shortage in seeds, you've got your own seeds and you don't have to rely on nobody but yourself. And, it's good just trying to do as much for yourself as you can, because one, you save money. And a lot of people don't do this anymore. We've turned into a consumable culture. We buy, throw away. Nobody looks at preserving the past. Hopefully on this channel we can show you some of the older ways to do things and be a little better about self-preservation. That way, if things do get bad, more people can rely on themselves and maybe use some of the things that they're learning to better their families and neighbors. But pretty much, we're going to finish processing these. We won't hold you up. And that's pretty much all we're going to do for our seed saving today. If you've got any requests for vegetables you want to see the seeds saved out of, let me know. Any questions, ask below. Thank you for your time.